You're listening to the Rogers Sporting Goods Podcast with Patrick Fisher,
Chandler Smith,
and Josh from Outdoor Limits.
In this podcast, we'll touch on everything from gear to ducks to deer, turkey and fishing. From field to table, let's dive in.
What was the jerky sticks we had in the blind in Kansas were jalapeno cheese, duck and geese.
Yeah, those were good.
Those were good.
Is there something weird about eating
the thing you're hunting while you're hunting it?
while you're hunting it?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's like what you're supposed to do.
This deer
right?
jerky tastes pretty good. Oh, hey, look, a deer. I was like,
I'm going to turn you into you.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any wrong time for duck and goose or deer jerky, period.
No.
Whoa.
I think
You're good.
I tell a lot of guys, I'm telling you, goose summer sausage is underrated.
Yeah.
You guys hear that noise?
Yeah, we got it's all
I don't
Hayden's.
know what that was.
Hayden's adjusting himself over there.
We have,
I know, we're going to have to get a new guy.
We just got him. We can keep him for a little while.
Nah.
yeah.
But dang it.
You lost your train of thought.
Yeah, it's all the food. It's underrated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Like
yeah.
when you think of summer sausage, you think either venison summer sausage or regular just beef summer sausage. The first thing that comes to mind is not goose. And I actually...
Is this your first goose summer sausage?
No, but you don't get it very often because most people don't make it, I don't think.
Which is surprising because when the limits are so high for geese.
Now, can you make it with snows? Or do people...
I don't see why not.
I mean, I feel like people
snows
turn into ditch birds.
Dude, you add enough pork to anything, it'll taste good.
That's true.
Dude, I remember Steve Kitchen would bring in, shout out to Steve Kitchen, he'd bring in snow goose jerky sticks, and we would just annihilate the bag.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going snow goose hunting this spring.
But this with a good sliced tomato and mayo on some bread.
I'd rather just do cracker with cheese.
Or tomato and bread and mayonnaise for a little sandwich.
You can keep that. I'm going to go charcuterie on it.
A charcuterie board. I made one of those.
Really?
Actually, I think I made one of those for Halloween or whatever party we had
Christmas?
when you came over. Yeah, I tried my hand at the
You did it yourself?
charcuterie board.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought everything was store-bought.
Need to make a wild game charcuterie board.
There you go.
That'd be fun.
Did you get all fancy with it?
We'll do like a Rogers wild game charcuterie board.
Oh, my wife's got a giant one. I can bring it in. We can do it all here for the podcast.
Everybody bring in their stuff like this. And then,
how do you find a wild cheese?
I don't know.
I think if you just made it yourself.
Yeah. Get to churning that butter.
I don't know.
But it is good.
You have to be like,
this isn't hot. This was jalapeno.
Yeah. It just tastes like
But
jalapenos.
nothing, just gives it some flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's not like spicy.
No.
Sticks
Oh,
are
the bun, I
good.
guess.
Yep.
Did you find another BB?
No.
It's all good.
First two slices me and Pat tried.
I bit into some
What'd you
BBs.
get? What was your pellet?
I think it's a...
Oh, you got it right there?
yeah, I saved it.
Who else does
I threw
that?
mine away.
I feel like people just, when they're eating game and they find a pellet, they always just like put it off to the side. Like sometimes when I'm doing stuff, I'm like wiping down the
It
counter.
came full circle.
I'm like wiping
And
down
this
the
is
counter.
what we use to kill what we eat.
Yeah,
I was trying to kill you.
It's got to be a BB. Do you probably shot BBs?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know what other people
Hopefully
are
it's
doing.
not. Hopefully it's not number 4 lead.
You crank on this thing? Or
Well,
what?
that's been through a grinder.
Well, yeah. I
a
mean,
mixer.
It's a Black Cloud flight stopper. There's rings on it, but it's like beat this.
Yeah.
I had a flight stopper pellet.
It is. It's just been.
Black Cloud.
And I use a
It's just
magnet. I use a magnet on the meat.
I
before
think your
put it in.
magnet is out of batteries.
Do you have the little
Well-
hand one, or are you in there with the full?
I don't think
the
that would
log?
work. That wouldn't work inside the house. I got like a little handheld one, but
Josh is out in the driveway with his,
Yeah.
beach wand out there.
Yeah,
Just
it's got all of his cooking sheets laid
What's
out in the
he-
driveway.
what's he doing? Hovering over the meat.
that wouldn't tell me where it
What
is in
it,
the meat though.
The hand one, like
yeah,
the little.
yeah. I cut.
We sell those at the store. A guy came
hand
in
ones.
and
Oh, really?
And I think that's probably what he got it for.
Yeah, I usually
Oh,
cut
yeah.
it up into like little cubes and do a quickie, and then throw it in the grinder.
Better start cutting smaller cubes. Yeah. I'm back. We're back. February 1st.
Oh, that's today. Yeah.
Short month.
Chandler, your birthday's coming up, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah. I forgot.
You
Looks like
forgot?
Saturday or something.
You act like I forgot. I stopped counting.
Well, like when the
Like
day,
he's
it was like
80.
January 31st. I was like, "Whoa, wait, February's like tomorrow." You know. So then I was like,
When
wait,
is your birthday?
the 4th? So
Oh, February 4th.
yeah. So is that Saturday or something? I don't even know.
Yeah, you get a weekend birthday.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Saturday.
yeah.
Well, happy early birthday.
Dang. What are you going to be? 31?
31.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really boring birthday,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's still worth celebrating over Mi Hacienda.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Talk dirty
Is that
to
where
me.
we're going?
I don't know. That's where I'm going.
Oh,
You tell Sonya she'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
there.
I should be there.
that place.
We'll
slaps.
reserve you a table
Yeah.
with Luis.
And Josh is from, 55 minutes from there, and that still is like favorite.
Isn't that
little
where
place.
we saw you?
Yeah.
We're sitting there. I'm like,
My wife and I were driving. We were
what's
driving to
Josh
Wisconsin.
doing here?
You guys
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
going to
you were
Wisconsin.
heading to Wisconsin.
Yeah, we stopped there in Liberty.
How do you start a trip off like that? Like, okay, we're gonna get in the car, we're gonna go 55 minutes, and then eat Mexican, and then 13 hours.
And
Here
then
we
we'll
go.
drive 13
No,
hours.
we stopped in Northwest Missouri.
Oh,
My family's place and stayed the night. Shaves about an hour off the trip.
gotcha.
So we were basically where we were gonna
yeah, you weren't.
be before we left for the morning.
You got this is the second time you've brought snacks to this podcast.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm the snack man.
I like it.
During season,
Although Chandler tried blaming me
yeah,
what?
these
Oh.
snacks.
for
hiding the
meat,
jerky.
the meat was
hiding
gone.
his stuff.
I set it on this table and I come back and it's gone.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to say who really hid the jerky.
I'll have to
I
go.
blame Chandler.
No,
I'll have to
it
go
wasn't me.
Question everybody around here.
No, it wasn't me.
For those of you guys who are listening to the audio version of this, we do put these on the YouTube channel for Rogers Sporting Goods. So head over there, check that out. Might as well say, go ahead and leave us a rating on this podcast if you guys enjoy watching or listening. If you're on YouTube, leave a like. Subscribe if you're not.
Yep.
Subscribe if you're not subscribed on the podcast platforms. And if you're watching, you could see that there's a wide array of things on the front of the table. Chandler,
there is.
Chandler, what do we got?
Besides snack sticks, duck and goose jerky. What do you call that? What's the size of the casing?
Dude, giant.
It's like your deer jerky.
Yeah.
With the
I really like making them in that big, like,
What's this one?
3-inch tube.
Just this regular?
I don't know. It's been so long
Let's
since
test
I made
it.
those. Might be hickory. I don't know.
You can hear me.
yeah. Hayden's me cutting that out.
No, I don't think I will.
So good. That's good.
We've got a bunch of hats in the front of the table. If you're watching,
It is.
You're obviously
Are these
seeing-
the new ones?
yeah. I mean, they came in the past couple weeks, and they're all Richardson hats. I think there's a 112, 112, 112.
There's a 115 in there.
There's a 115 in here. So if you're familiar with that hat, which a lot of people are, they like a certain number. Like someone might like the 112, someone might like the 115, someone might like the 511, or we even have a 168, I think.
There's a flat bill in there somewhere.
Well, yeah, there's a flat bill 511, and then there's a 7 panel.
See this flat bill here.
Where'd the 7
yeah,
panel go?
Right in front of you, third one in.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 panel,
People
Yeah.
do get, they like a certain
certain hat.
I'm a
style, and it
112
fits
guy.
right.
I'm a
Yeah.
112 guy, but this Goosebuster hat, man,
Hey, you rock
love
that.
it.
Oh man,
it's my second one so
A
far.
lady came in the other day, and so the store's changed up if you haven't been in a while. So you have to get used to where we put everything.
Uh-oh.
It's all the blinds and layout blinds
yeah,
and
you
stuff.
moved.
It's all switched around, and the lady opens up the layout blind we got on display and sees the
The
Goosebuster,
logo.
and she was laughing. She's like, "That's so cool."
oh yeah.
But that came out, I believe, around the time, when Ghostbusters was actually a huge hit. Like it was,
Well,
did it come out late 80s or early 90s? When did we?
Well, the first
Not
layout
our
line
layout
was
blind.
1993.
No, but The Goosebuster
Logo?
logo.
Man, I don't know.
It's been around a while.
I don't know if it's been around since the 80s, though.
Early
The news to
90s.
me. Do you think so?
How long's Greg been here?
I bet
As
Shannon
long
would
as
know.
me. Almost as long as you.
Oh, so maybe it's only been that long.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think
I
12,
don't know.
12, 13 years.
Yeah. Not
So not
80s,
as long as what I thought.
But it's a spinoff of the Ghostbusters.
Well, I
for
made
sure.
something up, and she
Yeah.
thought I was right.
Oh, okay.
Well, good job.
I mean, you assumed it was.
You say anything
I
with
assumed it
confidence.
was because it was there before I got there.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it
hit
was-
my 10-year mark, and it was there already. So I
think-
just figured it was something we had.
I think it was just like right before you started. I think Goosebumper Blinds hit the market. Because I can't remember.
Because I remember Greg telling me about like employees just kind of like, hey, what should we call this? Everybody
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
put in some ideas, and then someone came up with that, and everybody was
Someone
like,
was watching
that actually works.
the
That's
Ghostbusters
awesome.
the night before.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
The OGs,
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Because they did a remake or something.
They've done a few. The last one was actually pretty good. I like
Was it?
Uh-huh.
I'll have
They
to
brought
watch
the
it.
old characters back.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, we
Yeah,
have,
we were talking about going over food and stuff, and but we touch on it a little bit. Like you're the sausage sticks.
Yeah,
You were
I mean-
showing me the video of sous vide duck breasts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's do a little segment on some wild game cooking, I guess. On
Yeah.
Duck and Geese, and Josh will be our expert chef.
Yeah. Do
On
you
the channel.
do the sous vide now mostly? Is that how you cook all your stuff, or is that a new thing you're trying out?
That's
or?
new. Like we got it as a wedding gift, and I kind of got lost in the back of a closet, and I found it one day, and
really?
like, oh, I forgot I had this. So I started using it and cooking steaks with it, and I was like, ooh, this is.
You know how it works, Pat?
Well, sort of. They're vacuum sealed, and then you put it in this. I mean, you're cooking it with water,
Yeah, but the meat is in the barrier. It's not touching water.
right?
Yeah, the meat's inside a plastic bag, and the sous vide is circulating water and keeping it at a consistent temperature.
Exact temp. Yeah.
And you can set it to certain temps. How do you
Yep.
know what temp to put it at?
It comes with a book, or you can just look it up online.
Just wing it.
I actually one time looked up how long to sous vide a whole turkey, just
Really?
because I was curious.
Really?
It's
And it's in there?
It's like 2 days,
Oh,
2
really?
days, huh?
or like it was a long time.
Yeah.
The duck breast video you showed, though,
Yeah,
how long? You just did two?
yeah, just
Right.
two breasts, and then I did
And it's
it.
vacuum sealed, like you vacuum seal them in a normal.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
do
or you can just put them
quality
in a plastic
Ziploc.
bag. You just don't
Okay.
want it to leak.
You don't want to leak.
And then how long? What temp and how long? Did you do
130 for 2 hours, and I took it
130
out
for
and
2 hours.
finished it off in a pan.
So I guess on the video podcast, maybe we can drop a picture of what a sous vide looks like. An example, but
Is
it's,
that what I'm saying?
Or-
V-Day is that?
No,
it?
Or if anybody's
Thanks
curious,
for correcting me.
yeah, sous vide. I think is the proper way to say it.
I
And,
sous vide.
yeah.
I saw the other night. Well, it's funny because you did that, and just yesterday, Taylor Drury shared a video just like it, and she was doing sous
Sous vide.
vide elk
Oh,
or
nice.
whatever,
That'd be a good way to do
steaks
it.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I started using it 3 or 4 years ago, maybe.
it's been out for a little bit.
I mean, it's been out for. I think the technique's been out for
A while.
centuries, right? I think
Yeah,
it comes
I don't
from
know.
a certain style of cooking. I don't. Maybe not centuries. I don't know exactly how it
It
works.
probably is an ancient cooking technique, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
It just keeps
French
it,
or something.
Now
it
we've
keeps
just-
it really tender.
Yeah.
And
Look it up. While
like
you're
when I
talking
do a
about it.
steak or something, it seems like the fat renders down a lot better. Because like if you cook a steak in a pan, like a New York strip, you know, it's got the edge of fat and gristle on the edge. It just never renders down.
Yeah.
It seems like whenever I do it in the sous vide, it just kind of really renders down a lot better.
Gotcha.
You got like fat that's actually edible in that steak.
Oh, it's completely wrong.
Tasty.
It's not that old. It's 1971.
Is when that technique.
I mean, that's just me really quickly looking up.
But that's probably the new age way of doing it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I know they didn't have like what we're talking
Yeah.
about, but I would imagine the circulating hot
Yeah.
water
Yeah.
for cooking has been around for
for a while.
a long
but
time.
it's keeping the meat out of, or whatever you're cooking, keeping it out of the water. You're not,
Sure.
you're not cooking it in the water. And man, I would set it to like steaks. If I personally like a medium rare steak, you could even go with like 125 if you're going to put it on the grill for a hot second after that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're finishing it either on a frying pan or on the grill just to give it that charred
Otherwise,
edge.
it looks pretty gross.
Yeah, it's got
Right,
an interesting
yeah.
look to it. If you don't, kind of, char it up on each end. But yeah, you hit one.
Okay.
I'd get mine to 125, and it when you cut it, if you cut the steak or duck, whatever you're cooking, right after you get it out of the sous vide that you've done for a couple hours, you cut it. You don't have like a gradient colorway of doneness, and the center is cool red or warm red, and then the outside's more pink. There's a gradient from cooking it on the grill, so your center might be medium rare or rare, or the outside's a little bit more on the medium side, and you get that gradient from cooking. This is like completely the medium rare temp from edge to edge, side to side, the whole way around.
Gotcha.
So it tastes great, and then you just
I need
you
to
get real
do
hot skillet, real hot grill, whatever. You hit it really quick, char it up, and then you're ready to cook cut
Makes
into
me
a
want to
steak.
get one.
Yeah,
I need
they're
to do
they're
that.
great to have,
Dude, they're awesome.
especially when like if you get home and you're not planning on eating right away, or you're on a weekend.
Yeah, this is a longer cooking technique.
It is longer, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's a set and forget kind of thing,
Yeah.
and you can't overdo it. Since that sous vide is at 125, that steak will never get to 126. You can't mess it
So
up.
they say.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on how really good your sous
I
vide is.
suppose, yeah.
But
But
like
no,
that,
it's not
that
going
sous
to
vide will
overdo
never
it.
go higher than 125, so there's no way that steak's going to go over 125.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we do. Chicken was one that I know Houston and the office and I have done in the past, where we do big bulks amount of chicken, and you do it at, I might start at 155 and try to finish it in a grill or skillet at 165 or whatever USDA says or something. So even for a good pot size, and then you do like a decent bag, it still only might be 2 hours. 3 hours. You don't want it is you do a big group of chicken or steak or wild game like we're talking about, and you don't need to do it for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So
I tried to do squirrel in the sous vide one time. I think I let it cook too long
got
because
some
it came
squirrel
out and
recipes?
it was mush.
was it?
Yeah,
You do some squirrel recipes, though?
yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out on my YouTube
Because you've
channel.
talked about doing squirrel hunting.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're into that, but you got some things like that. Frog legs,
I like
all
grilled
that.
frog legs.
grilled.
Mm-hmm.
I like
I just
gold
like
fried.
anything deep
I like
fried.
fried frog legs.
Like anything deep fried, I'm in.
Okay, so going back to what you were talking about with the sous vide, I mean, you have your prepping duck breasts with the skin on, the fat, and all that good stuff, and you're doing. You said you were. I don't know. Did we talk about scarring?
Yeah, you want to
yeah.
score the fat, which means you cut through the skin and fat, but not the meat, and you put like crosshatch pattern across.
And
the
what's
skin.
that doing, though?
So, have you ever cooked a breast skin on without scoring it? And have you noticed how it like curls up inside itself a little bit?
Gotcha.
That scoring keeps it from curling up
Just keeps the
because it'll the skin shrinks as it cooks, and so it's going to pull those edges in, and you won't get as even of a crispiness on the skin because the middle's going to raise up off that pan. So by scoring it, you're letting the fat render out, and then it's also keeping the cooking surface really even.
And that's a good tip because I didn't know that years back. I would do like a technique with a hot skillet in the oven with the duck and skin, the skin on the breast kind of thing. And the skin would just shrink and curl up and become like a little, it's still good. It just doesn't.
And it'll actually, the skin will crisp up better because it's going to have that duck fat bubbling up between those scores.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's nothing better than
and you cook it fat down.
So once
The
I'm
hard-
done,
the
once
high
I'm done
heat,
with the
yeah.
sous vide, I take it out and I let the breasts cool down. So I like put them in cold water bath, and then I put them skin side down in a cold pan, and then turn that
it's
pan
on.
to high.
But it's on high, so it's going to be cranking.
So you start the pan cold and then turn it on when the breasts are in, and then it'll raise the temp, and then the fat will render out and it'll cook.
And I don't know if this is right. I've done a technique to where you start with this crisping the skin, and then you finish the whole thing in the oven.
Yeah,
you
that'll
put the whole skillet, and like you basically get a really, really hot skillet, and you get these duck breasts. They got salt and pepper. If you marinate them in something or whatever you're doing, then you drop it down, and it's sizzling really, really, really nice and hot, and getting that skin nice and crispy. But you're not really cooking the fat the meat very well at that point. You're just getting that skin how you like it, and then X amount of time you take that. I think you flip it over on the meat side for just a moment, char that a little bit, and then you go right into the oven. The oven is going to be set at whatever degree I forgot,
500
something. I don't know if it's that high, but then that basically cooks the rest of it to your desired internal temp.
And you flipped them though.
Yeah,
after
you want
to.
you want to sear that backside too.
And sear the other side, couple minutes or something.
Yeah, not long at all because it's already cooked after
Yeah.
the sous vide.
Yeah, the sous vide, you technically can take out the sous vide and just start gnawing
And
on
eat it.
but it's just not.
You want a good
Your
charred edge.
Well, with the
yeah.
duck, your skin isn't crispy and your fat isn't rendered down.
right.
Nothing
Kind
better
of
than
weird.
a duck breast coming out and you can scrape your knife across and it goes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I did.
Oh, and then what was the?
I didn't. Go ahead. What was
What'd
it?
you do?
No, it was
But
another
to
duck
finish
thing,
out
but
that
to finish
story.
out that
But
one.
what sauce did you pair it with?
So I went to the barbecue store a while back and found a Chipotle raspberry barbecue sauce. And so it's like really thick. And I didn't want a thick sauce on that duck. I wanted something pretty runny, something to spread over top, not be too much because you can go pretty overboard with barbecue sauces. So I put some of that sauce in a pan and put some bourbon in there and let it boil out all the alcohol from the bourbon. And it was just like the right consistency. It just drizzle over top. There's a whole video on my cooking YouTube channel, Outdoor Limits Grill. Shameless plug.
There's your shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
But a lot of duck really, and that cooking it that way, a lot of duck really likes that sweet, sour,
sweet and heat, man.
sweet, sour, spicy, like really, really interesting flavor to put on top of it. You know, like I think there's some.
Yeah.
I forget exactly the exact name of some of these relishes that are more like the sweet, sour, spicy kind of relishes.
I made like a tomato relish
Yeah.
and did that on top of like a ciabatta bread with duck.
Oh yeah.
It was really good.
You cook them other ways though too. That's just one recipe you do.
Oh,
I mean you do other
yeah.
stuff too.
I think one of the problems with duck hunting is there's not a lot of information out there for how to cook your duck or different varieties of options.
You definitely don't see it as much. As
No, like if you go look in a cookbook for
You
wild
look at
game,
venison.
there's like 3 pages for duck and then like 60 pages for venison.
yeah.
But duck and goose is such a versatile meat; it'll take on so many different flavors, and you use it
Mm-hmm.
so many different ways. I mean,
Yeah, Shannon did a duck once after we got done, and we cut it into real small strips, and whatever marinade she did, like it was a mustard-based style, you know, and cook them real quick, you know, not overcooking them and whatever, but it was delicious for sure.
We were big into this chutney sauce years ago. Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it.
But it's I just brought it up, so I made sure I was talking about the right thing. But it's like main ingredients is like a vegetable, fruit, salt, spice, and herbs. So it's like a fruit and vegetable, like what would you call
It's
that?
chunked up or something.
Like jelly or something? Not jelly, but
Like a relish.
a relish. Yeah, it's a fruit and vegetable relish that's got like spice and herbs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
Goes
did.
really good.
I did one thing with a goose breast in the sous vide a couple years ago. I put some peaches and butter and a little bit of cinnamon on top of a goose breast and cooked it in the sous vide, and it didn't turn out half bad.
Yeah,
I'm more on the smoker.
yeah.
Venison.
Yeah, a duck
Like,
is
that's
so
kind of my wild game
duck is such
expertise.
a hard thing to smoke. You got to do it
Yeah.
just right, otherwise
Right.
it's going to be overcooked.
Yeah, I do like butterfly chops or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I try to butterfly them because what I'll do is I'll take like some cream cheese and then either olives, green olives, or jalapenos, and then close it together, season it up like you would do, like a rub, and then wrap them in bacon and then smoke them for 4 hours or whatever. Those turned out pretty good.
So to wrap up this segment, Josh, talk about what we were eating today. Like, what would you do to get through these
Yeah, tell me.
two different types of
Well,
sausages.
Tell me what I'm about to.
the base ingredient is waterfowl meat and pork butt. So I mix them 50-50. 50% pork, 50% waterfowl.
Gotcha.
Mix of duck and goose. By the end product, you really can't tell. So I buy the little kits for making summer sausage and jerky sticks. Follow those instructions. But basically, you grind it all. You mix it together, and it goes by weight. So you got to weigh everything, and then stuff it into casings and throw it on the smoker.
So what power grinder are you running?
I think it's a half horse
Half?
number 8.
Really?
How long
know-
does that take in a smoker?
Not as long as you think. A couple hours.
No.
Couple,
Is there a
4,
way to
6 hours.
test like how long it's supposed to go?
A meat
Like what
thermometer?
do you? That's all you're
yeah,
going
you
off
just
of.
stick a meat thermometer in there, 165, and pull it off.
Okay.
So when you're grinding that too, you're 50-50. You're dicing them pretty small. Goes through the grinder really well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the biggest thing I'd say is if you're gonna do it, invest in a grinder, a good grinder,
Yeah.
because I had like one of those little countertop models, and for doing
Electric or hand?
electric,
Okay.
electric.
I was gonna say.
And-
you had like a clamp on countertop hand grinder.
yeah.
I'm like, oh
old,
wow.
old school, going Sweeney Todd. But when you're doing 10, 15, 20 pounds at a time, man, those little grinders take forever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I upgraded to a bigger grinder, it was like done.
Right. Real quick.
5 minutes, we're 20 pounds in.
Well, that's good. You
On
did
the
Do you
something right.
regrind it? Do you-
On the sticks, I like to do a fine plate grind, and on the summer sausage, I think on that one I did fine plate as well. But sometimes I like to mix it. Oh no, when I do brats, I do a large plate,
A large plate only.
large hole. Yeah,
Gotcha.
because I like doing bigger chunks in the brats.
Gotcha.
This you need it to be pretty mixed up. And
You just reminded me I got brats in the freezer that I need
Oh,
to take
yeah.
home and eat.
I was wondering what happened to those.
But
Or maybe next week I can bring my little grill and we can cook them
Oh.
for the podcast.
it's
That's
supposed to
what I'm
warm up,
talking
isn't
about.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know over the weekend,
Yeah,
like
we can
up
have
to
a-
60.
You like the segue, Pat. We'll have the pre-Super Bowl tailgate with some,
For real.
some duck bratwurst.
Duck brats?
Duck brats.
Gosh dang, sign me up, mustard.
Oh, sauerkraut too.
Ooh.
My gosh. That was like my favorite thing. Everybody was getting hot dogs and nachos at like a football game or something. They
gotta
didn't have,
get the
they didn't have
Sheboygan.
duck brats, but yeah. I wanted the Sheboygan with the veggies
Oh, yeah.
on there.
At the Royals game.
Just a foot long Sheboygan. Mustard, onions, peppers. Just giant.
You got any ground deer meat so we can make deer
That thing
burgers
was
one week?
awesome.
I wonder
Actually, I think I do.
Did you have some? Mm-hmm. I don't have anything from this year.
We ran through our deer meat this year. We were cooking it up. We do a lot of just,
You chili?
like we'll marinate them, and then we do chili. If you're not big into the gamey taste, or if one thing we do is taco chili, which is really, it's basically chili, but you're doing, obviously, like your taco seasoning in the meat, and you add Mexicorn and
Yeah.
things like that. But we do a lot of fajitas. Of course, Sonia makes like true fajitas, like Mexican restaurant. Mm-hmm. And then I just put mine over rice and add soy sauce. So I'm more like the Asian, like
Stir fry.
Asian bowl stir fry. So we're eating two different things out of the same deal.
Hey,
I'm like, hey, you do your thing, I'll do mine. They're both good, just real thin, just real hot. Cook them
yeah,
real quick after marinating them.
If I have a surplus of ducks, it's a lot of times it's fajitas. They're just,
Yeah,
Oh,
just
I-
cut them real thin.
and I think I even sous vide too before that. I
And
sous
all-
vide in like a Tex-Mex.
like if I can find it, is the Midwest mix.
Midwest mix.
Yeah, but it's really hard to find right now.
Really? It's not a
To
high,
get-
Hy-Vee and or the local
Hy-Vee
Hy-Vee?
usually does. They've been out for
Really?
months. So, if anybody has any, they want to send a case to Roger Sporting Goods.
Addressed to Patrick.
We'll give you a shout out. Put your name on there.
So what do we got on the agenda today, boys?
I do want to touch on, from last week's podcast, we asked if you could change something
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like a
yeah.
regulation or
So just a
a rule
few.
or something.
We had great feedback again, as always, and but a few that some people put down. This one relates to Missouri, and it's one that I think a lot of people, even I, would go with. But it's at Dan Stokes _ realtor and auctioneer. So he's got a couple jobs.
Wow.
So shout out to you, Dan Stokes. He said
Wonder if-
push.
He's one of those fast talking auctioneers, you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've always wanted to be
bet.
able
Yeah.
to do that.
Anyways,
Imagine if he used his auctioneering voice though as a realtor. So he's like trying to show them over here's the bathroom and over here's the toilet and then you come upstairs and you come downstairs.
Or if they're going through all the title paperwork and sign here, initial
And
here.
sign and sign. Yeah,
Man,
that would
anyways.
be funny. That would be great. He said push the Missouri rifle season out of the rut and into December. I couldn't agree more, Dan.
I think there's
That's
a
a
lot of
great
people that
one.
could agree with that.
I think you'd be on board for that, but but then some people would say no, because if you break it down to archery, rifle hunters, rifle hunters is like it's not even close to how many archery hunters there are. So, like solely, that's all you do is rifle hunt.
Just the guys who go out for 2 weekends.
Yeah, I
a
mean,
year
if you
go
put it
hunt.
to the vote, it would probably never pass because it's by far and away way more. All I do is rifle hunt.
And
They
they want
do
to have the
both.
best opportunity.
Yeah,
possible.
so I get it. Which we're going to get into some numbers here that I found. I went all scientific on about Missouri harvest numbers. Another one was from at Don D. Brunner, I believe. He said limit the number of shells. He had a few more, but that was one that I honed in on his comment. But limit the number of shells.
you can bring to.
I think he was talking about the pass shooting as well, right?
like in a waterfowl
I
management
don't
area.
think the pass shooting thing's ever gonna get changed, but I could see a limiting number of shells.
Well, they do that in
Yours-
Arkansas.
There's a little bit of different between pass shooting and sky busting, though. But anyways,
Or yeah, sky busting. I think is what he's talking about.
but
yeah.
And that's just a tough one to. How do you?
Yeah, if you only have 20 shells, you're going to
prove
be a
it,
little
how
bit
do
more
you-
careful about the shots you take.
So I understand the limiting the number of shells. So that's what he put out, and then the last one was from at Samuel Benzing. He's from, I believe he's from Iowa, and he said he'd like to change the daily bag limit of Canada's to 5+, up from 2, which is where they're at now. And he'd like to also allow party limits for waterfowl and upland.
interesting.
And, you know, I don't know about the limit thing. I guess I'd have to speak to a biologist on the numbers and why different states. And, you know, because Missouri, we're at what, 3?
3. Kansas at
But
6.
Kansas, you're at 6. So,
Oklahoma's 8.
yeah, you know, so that part, the daily limits, it's just so weird based off the state you're in. Like, could we have a standard?
Well, the
I don't know
federal-
why
I
they're
think-
so different.
I think federal for each flyway says, okay, all these states, here's the max that you can set. Pick your max.
And we're in
I-
Missouri's kicked over into the Mississippi side, huh?
Yeah.
And Missouri was 2 for a while.
I believe that's how it works. I'm not, don't quote me on it.
Sure. Check your local
Jeez.
game.
Check your local game laws and, however that
But
works.
what do you think about the party limits? Because
There is a lot of duck hunters that go by party limits.
What do you mean?
Period. Like if you got 4 guys,
That's it.
everybody keeps shooting until you have a 4-man.
Oh, you're
Not
talking
like
about,
I shot my
that
5
what-
mallards.
Is that what they're talking about? Getting rid of shooting, like a party limit, as in shooting the birds for the group, not
Yes.
shooting
Well,
the birds for the person? Or are you talking about
not
like limiting?
incriminating anybody, but
Yeah.
if you go out,
Okay.
I believe the way the law
For
states
some reason,
in
I thought you were
Missouri-
talking about limiting the amount of people
No.
hunting. Like if instead of having 20 people in a pit blind,
No.
because
or
no,
Is
no,
that?
no.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
I think he's talking about what you're saying
what I'm
because
saying?
technically,
yeah,
if us 3 go out, we're hunting ducks.
yep,
And we all shoot until we get a 3-person limit, so 18.
Yeah.
But you have to technically, if you got checked, you'd have to be, well, I shot that one, no one else.
Mm-hmm.
He shot that one.
It's hard to say no
You
one
shot
else
that
too,
one.
because I mean we
Oh
were
my
just in
gosh.
Arkansas down there doing this, and we claimed our birds that we felt
I mean, typically,
highly confident on shooting, but
Yes.
there was times where I was sitting next to Gregory, which is not here with us today, but you know, 6 birds would come in, and all 6 would drop, and I know maybe me and him we took a part on the very first one, but then I know I got that second one, and Houston was there too, and which one did he feel confident? We'd go and collect and talk about which ones we shot, but I know some of these birds have been, especially when you have bigger parties.
Yeah.
Is part of that in there, though, because you bring someone out who might have a tag, or you say, hey, he doesn't really like to hunt, but, he does the apprenticeship or something like that. It's an extra person now. Now you got 6 extra ducks you can
Yeah.
shoot.
I don't know how frequently that would happen.
No, and that's probably rare, but
But case in
what are
point
the
is-
reasonings of why they don't allow
Well, then
party limits?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it is the way it is, but I like shooting.
Because
my 6 in the
theoretically,
hunt.
us 3 could go out. We're all valid legal hunters.
Mhm.
But you know what? Me and Chandler are going to take the day off, even though we got our shotguns. And you're going to shoot all 18.
There's just gonna be green shells on the ground.
But you know what I mean? So,
That's illegal, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can
Yes.
only shoot my
6,
limit
yeah.
of birds.
he can only shoot 6, but there again, if you're all shooting,
and the same number of ducks is harvested within each individual person's limit.
Yeah.
can he 100% say, whatever group's out there, 100%, I only killed 6? Could have been 5, could have been 7.
Yeah.
So I get it. That was a good one, Samuel. I like it. And there were some other ones, but keep giving us feedback on that stuff. And
I got some. I don't know. Did you check the TikTok side of things?
I didn't do the TikTok side.
A lot
I
of
just
people-
checked the
and I didn't-
Instagram.
I didn't. A lot of people talked about out of state draw, which I don't know about that one for me, but you can definitely make an argument for. I think they're more geared towards the deer hunting side of things. And I don't know,
for non-resident
non-resident
permits,
deer permits, as a
depending
draw.
on what state you're in.
No. So how do you like it for Iowa?
It stinks because I'm from Iowa,
Mm-hmm.
but I can never go hunt there, and all my family lives there. I mean, I can, but I got to put in every year. Basically, it takes you on average about 40 years of paying in every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's money you don't get back,
Is it the price
think
of
it's
the
around
tag or is it
$50
an application fee?
like your application fee.
Okay.
And then you get preference points or however, you know. And yeah, I should be doing it. I probably would have been able to hunt 2 or 3 times by now. But I don't do it because I'm like, I don't.
You don't need to.
I don't. Yeah, one, I don't need to.
Yeah.
But my uncle always says you're more than welcome, and he, if I put in, he's got a great spot. But then on the flip side, right? I don't like that because it's hard
Yeah.
to get a tag there. But on the flip side, being from Missouri, I also don't like our system because we have some of the cheapest non-resident tags. I think from Missouri now, it used to be $225. It's $265 now, or $275 for over the counter. Anybody come in,
Mm-hmm.
get a tag, go deer hunting.
Do you have numbers on that by chance?
I do have numbers that we're going to go over, but I want to correlate it to one of the topics we're going to get into.
Yeah. Before we jump into that, we'll kind of. I don't know if you.
But
anything
yes,
else to
so that will
recap
kind of correlate
on
to
pricing.
That,
Anyways, a couple
but
of the
yeah,
other
I
ones
would
were-
like to have a draw, not a draw, but I would like to raise our prices because I think we're leaving money on the table, and I don't think it's going to limit. Actually, I know it doesn't. When we went from 225 to 265 or whatever it is, the numbers didn't go down for out of state, which tells me we're not at that breaking point yet.
Yeah.
So why leave an extra $5, $10, $15 on the table if the same amount of people is a lot of money?
Yep.
So, anyways,
One more, which is interesting. It's a rule kind of taken from Wisconsin, it looks like, but you can't shoot a buck until you tag a doe. What do you think about that?
Is that a thing?
There is some of that. There is some of that
think
in
in
Missouri.
Wisconsin,
There
according to
is in
Wisconsin.
Missouri too on certain. At least in Missouri, it's on like they do the women's Hodge Park
Yeah.
hunt. You have to shoot a doe first
Yep. Those are
before you.
managed hunt, yeah.
It's a managed women only because they're which I'm fine with. They're trying to get more women into the outdoors.
Yep.
You have to have for that one an archery certification,
Bow
like
hunter
the
ed.
actual bow hunter's education.
Yeah.
But they have to tag a doe before they can harvest a buck. And
Interesting.
there's some other parks that do that too. Now, statewide, I think that would be tough. A tough one to. I don't know if I'm into that
Yeah.
There'd be a lot more does getting shot.
for sure. Well, way more. But a lot of guys go out. They buy one any deer tag for rifle, and they're out there to shoot one buck, and that's it. If they don't get a deer, they don't get a deer.
Yeah.
To them, it's one and one only. And so you're almost forcing them to take another deer.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Other people commenting about out of state tag prices get you. I just chuckled at this one. Mergansers separate limit.
Well, okay, here's the deal. Kansas this year, they incorporated the mergansers into the duck limit. Originally, over the past a lot of years, the merganser limit was separate from
Really?
the duck limit. Yeah, so I could shoot 6 ducks and 2 hooded mergansers, or 6 ducks and 5 common mergansers, or something like that. Not like
Geez, 5 common Mergansers?
yeah, something like that. I don't
No.
check with your local game fish. But yeah, it was something like that. So I mean, you could get some bonuses, but I mean, if you want to shoot mergansers, but
I mean, yeah. I mean, props to that. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
how about make a season for comrades?
There you go.
have at it. I'll
You gonna leave that to me?
Wouldn't that be one heck of a game strap? Like 15 coot limit, your comrade limit, and hooded Mergansers with a couple commons to throw it on top?
Walking out with your bag
That'd be
full
one.
of
That'd be
comrades.
one epic picture.
Those might become ditch birds. We were talking about.
I don't know if you
You
can
got a
make
good
comrade,
comrade
too.
recipe?
Hey, you know what? You soak it long enough.
Hey,
and put enough pork on anything,
Yeah,
it'll
I was
taste
gonna
good.
say, add pork.
And
You
then-
got a good one, Hayden?
Yeah, there's one that I found. Kind of wanted to get y'all's input on it. It's that it says a couple different hunting spots in Texas used to have assigned hunting days throughout the week, kind of similar to the blue laws. So it's like I'm assuming the way that it would work is that each public land, each piece of public land would have a certain set of days to shoot. And he said that it increased the population of the birds that were coming in because they weren't getting educated as often.
'Cause
Yeah.
certain areas you could only hunt on certain
Yeah,
days.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. I mean, that you kind of cross into that whole,
It-
what I was trying to be a proponent of,
Yeah,
and
and-
that's allowing you to hunt on any given day,
Another
especially
problem.
if you own the land.
Yeah, another problem with it is you're taking, let's say, 100 acres, and then 25 is closed on Monday or Saturday. Saturday's
Yeah,
better.
what if half of it's in a different county?
Well, no. You're taking 100% of the hunters and putting them in
in a
a
small
smaller
spot.
area versus having everything open.
Spread
Everybody's
out.
more spread out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can see some safety becoming an issue if
And just more headache for the hunters. Like, just, I don't know, showing up to the boat ramp with 50 people.
Well,
you
this
know.
Do you
The
know how
only-
much of a
the-
panic that gives me when I
This is
see
the
like
only
one
lake
truck in the
open
parking
today?
lot driving
Yeah.
down the
You
road?
gotta get over one truck. I mean, when you see
Well-
like 10, it's like, oh gosh.
Well, then you're walking in and you see a truck and another
Well,
truck.
like some of those
and
open-
another
They're already
truck.
there. Yeah.
opening
Yeah.
day of Arkansas or whatever, some of them videos,
Oh my gosh.
it looks like
Yeah.
speedboat racing, vroom, and they're all
like it.
over bumper boats.
Yeah. The last one before you jump off to your next
No, it's
topic,
all right.
but eliminating fall turkey.
I've never met anybody who hunts fall turkeys.
I have.
You know what? Every now and again, I'll meet a guy that's hunting fall turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Never hear of anybody taking one though.
But
But they are taken. I don't know what the number was, but obviously
they are taken.
they are being taken.
But
Kind of like
It's
me
the-
taking
the-
this
the-
duck stick.
Yeah. Well, I think they're talking about like, if our turkey numbers are declining, why have it open in the fall? They're like, okay, I would definitely get rid of the fall and get another bird in the spring.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
They're more
that
fun
I don't
to
know
hunt
if that
this
math
way.
would work because I don't know if the fall harvest is that high.
I think it's over 10,000.
Yeah. And then fall harvest is I'm not talking fall firearm. I'm also talking let's throw in, archery.
The archery too.
You
'cause
get 2 turkey tags with your archery tag.
plus
you know.
you could take one. Yeah, so theoretically you could take 3
Yeah,
turkeys
in the fall.
Well,
And
yeah,
you-
that's gotta.
Yeah. I don't know what it is in Kansas. Do you know?
No, not
You
off
don't
the top
get
of my
any
head.
turkey tags with your bow tags or nothing, anything weird like that.
I doubt that.
See if
I bet they're all separate.
But
I mean, you definitely need the numbers on it, but if they're not being hunted as often in the fall, then why is it a problem? I guess
well,
if the numbers are high, then obviously
the numbers are not. They're on a decline, and I think it's pretty much countrywide. They're on a decline. I think everybody's talking
Yeah.
about they're not as good as they were. Was it 10 years ago?
The 90s.
the decline
Well,
of the
yeah, the
population or the
early
decline of the amount of people that
population.
are hunting.
No,
Okay.
decline in population. And in the 90s, I think was the heyday, and it's going down. And some states are losing
so
like
it's really actually a pretty small number.
for fall.
Yeah, 2022 statewide fall turkey harvest summary. So this is just Missouri.
Fall firearm or both? Archery and-
This is just fall firearm.
yeah,
4,289.
that's not a lot. So it's not that much of an argument, but people want their 2 birds
Right.
back in the spring, which I think we still have 2 birds in the spring, right, Pat?
2 birds in the spring.
But Kansas is different.
That's one that a lot of people want to change too. Is get rid of the 1 o'clock deadline.
Yeah, I can see that.
Now they say
Kansas that you guys
MDC would tell you part of putting the 1 o'clock deadline is because it gives hens a chance to
to nest or roost
nest,
or whatever.
roost.
Incubate.
Yeah,
Incubate all that stuff.
exactly. I would tell you. So you charge me whatever price it is. I can't remember for spring turkey tags, and I get 2.
Okay.
And you can't shoot one until the second week, anyways.
And not only can you not take 2 the first week, if you get to the second week and you still have 2 tags, you can't even take them on the same day.
Didn't that change
You
recently?
can never take 2 on the same day. So if the
Has it
second
always
week
been the rule?
came and I shot one on the first day of second week,
Yep.
I couldn't shoot another one till the following day.
So tomorrow.
My thing
But
is,
why?
so I paid for the tags, and
Oh,
I
really?
only have so many days to hunt as it is. Let me just if you can go to Nebraska, they actually a guy that hunts there now. They just changed. It used to be 3 birds, and you could kill them all on the same day. And there's a customer that loves going to Nebraska. I was just talking to him, and he'd go up there. He'd shoot 3 gobblers in one day. And now it's 1.
A day or one period?
1 period. That's your limit
Wow.
for Nebraska, which probably correlates to the numbers of turkey are dropping. I mean, we just hit a record this last spring for the lowest total harvest in Missouri. I think it's around 4 consecutive years now, at least.
So we're the lowest of between what years? Like, I mean, obviously, I think
at least the past-
late 90s was the heydays. Is that right? Or the 90s were
Yeah.
the heydays?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the numbers in, pre-conservation. Like, I mean, the 1900.
Yeah,
we
we're
might
not
not
going
have
back
had
that
hardly
far
any
because
turkeys.
that-
We didn't
yeah.
have nothing,
Right.
pretty much. All
Same
the
with,
market
same
hunting
with
got rid
deer,
of them.
though, too.
Yeah. But I don't know where we're at compared to some of the numbers over the past, over the 1900s.
Right. Exactly. There's a lot of stuff we could change. There's a lot of. I talked about the harness, but
But we need to
Yeah.
save some of these and
we do
and,
need
go, and
to
dive in with MDC about them too.
Yeah, I'd like to get into the turkey thing.
Yeah.
If people get heated, and
get
people have different opinions.
Get your boy on here.
Yeah, I actually had messaged him to give me a shout because I was trying to find what
that.
happened,
Yeah.
which we'll get into
Right now.
right now. But one of the things we also wanted to bring up, and we've talked about a lot of gadgets and things we use to hunt, and that is technology in hunting. And that can mean a lot of things, from range finders to new firearms, I mean, even the ammo's changing, like just technology in general, safety equipment.
Aren't there archery sites that are
You can
electronical
get-
now?
Yeah, and there's one I wrote down that I want to get into. We're even talking about backpacking. Like when you guys went out to Colorado, like imagine backpacking 30 years ago to go on an elk hunt and how heavy in the gear you would have to take than the technology now with like some of the stuff you see in whatever brand, throw out Sitka, I don't know, whatever, you know, and how light it is, but versatile at the same time. So, I mean, the technology is always changing. Here again, you get a division. You get proponents on one side that say technology's there. It helps with more ethical hunting, but better success rate. And then you have the other side that say, you know, and I get it, hunting is super primal, right? Going back thousands of years, hunting is very primal. And so a lot of people want to abstain from getting to the technology, and they would, you know, although, you know, the equipment you use, like whether it's a bow or firearm or whatever, like that's just the tool they want to use and not get into all the other stuff. And I see both sides, you know. For me particularly, I tried something different this year. When you talk about technology, a lot of people bring up trail cameras and how much they've changed from the old school. I remember like the first one I got, it was like that big. Thing was a giant book.
What was it, a Moultrie?
And
It was
it
like a
took,
Moultrie
like-
L30 or something.
And it took like only D's or C's.
Only D's.
Like,
Did you have actual
Nothing
film
with
in it?
double A's. Oh no, but my uncle, I asked him, my uncle still has rolls of film that never got developed
From his trail
from
cameras.
his trail cameras.
Nice.
So I wasn't that year.
I don't remember. Wow. I don't remember personally having
I was
films
like,
in
I
trail
want to see
cameras.
those films.
But I
He
know
took
that
in
I know that was a thing.
like 35 millimeter
Yeah.
film, just like you.
This
and-
is the first I've ever heard of
Yeah.
film and trail cameras.
yeah. You got to go into Walmart or wherever you were going, Walgreens, and
be
get
so
your
cool,
film
like-
developed.
Try that again. Just see what.
I want to go get his
See-
developed.
Yeah. That
He's still
too.
got them downstairs in his hunting.
I don't know if there were D or C
cave.
batteries, you know.
But the
no,
D and C batteries
Yeah, that's
too
hilarious.
alone was just like,
And they last you like a week.
oh my gosh, you carry a 10-pound camera out there. Now everything's, you know,
I think the
Double
first. I
A's
think the
and-
first camera that we were like selling like hotcakes when I started at Rogers was like a Moultrie L30 or something.
yeah, this was a Moultrie too.
The big old
was
black
giant.
thing, black camera,
black,
huge.
plain.
Yeah, it was.
You know, had
if
had
not bigger than a
had
sheet of
French
paper, 8.5
doors
by
on
11.
it to
Yeah.
get to it. You know, it's like giant French doors. They
And
did,
then
but
white flash that would scare the deer away.
everything was white flash.
Yeah. And then we had infrared technology,
Then you go to infrared, and now you've got obviously
Blackout.
cell cams.
and then
so-
cell coms. Yeah.
I can see both sides, so let's touch on trail cameras. We got a lot of stuff to go through here, so we'll just kind of hit them all here. But trail cameras, I like them, and I hate them because I think they've also limited my hunting knowledge to an extent. Like I'm getting too new school and relying solely on what I'm getting pictures of, and I'm not utilizing old school tactics that are tried and true.
And I sit on the edge of the field and watching the deer move.
Yeah, either self-scouting
season or
and
something,
watching
you
it,
know,
looking for rubs and scrapes and pinch points and looking at topography maps and sign and just walking the property. Instead, you know, I started with one and then I got up to like 8 cameras, you know, and it's the fun part was, and that's for me was pulling the cards though. So I really it was so exciting.
Oh yeah,
It became as much fun as going out there and hunting itself is just seeing the pictures, and not just deer pictures. So many crazy pictures and owls and coyotes and
turkeys and
a bobcat
Bobcat
carrying
every
a
once in a while.
squirrel in its mouth
Yeah.
and eagles and all sorts of stuff. But I lost my way, I guess. And so this last year I didn't do any cameras, and I went back to old school, and
then you
it was nice too because you don't know what's out there. And so everything, that was exciting too. I'm like, I don't know what's out here, and so there was some excitement in that too. So I don't know where you guys stand. I'm okay with trail cameras. There is laws that you can't use them in some places, but I'm for it. I just think we get caught up too much in it.
We're going to do some videos on this spring because we sell Moultrie cameras. But have you seen the new AI stuff on Moultrie's cell cam stuff?
I haven't seen that.
It's crazy. And we'll have some more videos in the future.
Okay.
But I can tell I think it's live now.
Yeah.
And if not, this will be completely edited out.
We'll do a thing on it.
But it's got AI technology in the cell camera app that automatically detects what the picture was taken of, or what the picture was taken of. So you could be a truck, you could be a person, it could be deer, turkey, bobcat, whatever. It knows what that is, and you can filter.
Wow.
You can sit there on your app and be like, I'm going to look at just bucks. Click, and then it shows you only bucks. And it's really good, too. And then it'll say, I only want to look at turkeys, or I only want to look at people because it's a security camera. I only want to look at trucks. So, and it's a super fast click of a button, and it's got it all laid out for you. And it's crazy how, it's so smart. It knows what's in those pictures, and it knows, I don't know if it knows who the people are yet, but we'll be there one day. It'll know Bob was on your trail camera, or Bill,
or Josh.
Hey.
But it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So trail cameras. That's one, obviously.
You remember checking trail cameras? Like if you put a trail camera on a mineral
now
lake,
you don't have to check them.
Well, if you had like back when I was really big into it, was like you put a Moultrie M30 or something. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
In front of a mineral site or something before season, and if it was a good place, you could get 10,000 pictures in a week. And then you had to go through and click the button on 10,000 pictures.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I did once is
or the
I
grass.
put out a bunch of Big and J at the time.
Big and J,
one of those like stack feed style, just to see what I had in the area. And this was in a timber spot. And I put out a lot, hundreds of pounds, just bag after bag, big old spot. Because I was like, I'm going to have the deer feeding here for weeks. Got my camera set up. Mine was a Moultrie M550.
I remember those.
I come back and there's not a kernel of corn left on the ground, and the ground's rutted up and bare. And I'm like, oh my gosh!
Pictures
and
of raccoons.
I looked, and I'm like, thousands of pictures. I'm so pumped. I go home,
Raccoons.
Not one deer. At one point, I had over 30 raccoons in the picture, and some of them didn't move for a week until it was gone.
Holy
they were just getting fat and sassy. Big old plump coons just.
Was that
so anyways,
money
that
well
was
spent?
that was a waste. Yeah. And no wonder the deer didn't come. There was no spot for them. Jeez. So that's one, trail cameras. Another one, so this is kind of new, and we have a customer of ours that's gotten into this business, and is drones. And so that's what he does, though, which I do like. He's starting a business, so he's using it for deer recovery.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of this.
Oh yeah,
and once he started telling me,
I saw this online.
He's ex-law enforcement, got into drones, and he's doing deer recovery now. Great idea. So I'm like, you talk about dogs, right? We've been doing recovery with that. The tough part about dogs too, though, if it's wet, it's rainy.
They're not 100%.
They're not 100%. And not that drones are either. But the one thing he told me, which makes sense, is it doesn't matter if rain washes the scent away, because on my drone, I still have heat.
Yeah, they have heat
signatures.
Sensing.
So
like a thermal camera.
Even if that deer's been, deceased for hours and hours and hours, it's still going to set off a heat signature.
It's going to be colder than the ground.
It's going to be warmer. It's going to be warmer than the ground, so he's still going to be able to see it. And I'm like, nice. And that I think is cool, because that's going to help with the recovery and the right. Because there's nothing worse than wounding a deer or not being able to find it.
It can be an incredibly useful tool for those who need it.
Now, the flip side of that,
people could take advantage of it.
Is you can take advantage of using a drone. And in a lot of states, this is illegal, but You know, you can't just be up there during season flying it around, checking out where deer are, you know, and things like that. So, but that's a new technology that's kind of exciting, especially on the recovery side.
Definitely.
So that's new. Something else that's become really new, not super new, but these ballistic apps now that you can, excuse me, summer sausage, is these ballistic apps that help you shoot 1,000 yards. I mean,
Like
they
you
give
just
you
type in the
the
distance, or-
Coriolis spin and the wind, and it's all automatic. And
Wow.
you know, it's a ballistic app. So if I'm shooting,
You put in your rifle,
whatever
your
gun,
barrel
the
length,
bullet,
your bullet, and all
and
that.
you pop up, you know, and it tells you, okay, aim right here, right? Long
Wow.
distance shots have been talked about, ethical, unethical, anyways. And now you add in this new technology of these apps, and it's, this was a well-known, Tim Kennedy. Shout out to Tim Kennedy. So, you know, ex-military spec ops guy who can shoot forever, but he loves hunting too. And he goes, yeah, I can shoot really far, but I don't.
I could see it taking the fun out of it.
Like, yeah, can I shoot 1,000 yards? Sure. But do I want to shoot 1,000 yards, or should I shoot 1,000 yards? You probably not.
No.
Right? So that comes into play too. And with these ballistic apps, I mean, it's just crazy, the info. Now, right, we try to play both sides. So on the flip side of that is, well, they're also helping you to get more of an ethical shot and tell you exactly where, you know, so you're not guessing and you accidentally shoot, you know, 2 inches high and you should be 8 inches high, or you should, you know, so it's going to give you a more dead on shot. So I can see that. But that's just a new technology, you know, that, you know, wasn't around.
You know what
Long
I saw
time
the other
ago.
day?
What's
Is
that?
OnX Hunt on Apple CarPlay.
Yeah, I've been playing with that this
Have you?
season. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's hilarious.
It's really cool. Have you tried it?
No.
Oh man,
The
I mean,
what?
it's pretty.
I tried to set it up on lunch. But
It's really good for like if you're bouncing waypoint to waypoint.
OnX Hunt.
Onyx Hunt.
It
Through
doesn't.
your dash of your truck because of
Yeah.
Apple CarPlay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
get full satellite imagery on your CarPlay
Gotcha.
screen.
I was just thinking about hunting in Colorado. Like, there were some times we were going to places with no cell signal, relying on GPS navigation, but all you saw was just a line on your screen. You didn't know where you were.
Yeah.
Like, but you could pre-download maps and use OnX, and you could see exactly where you're at when you don't have any cell signal because you've pre-downloaded that map interface, and the GPS satellite is different from your cell signal, and you can see where you're at on that GPS navigation.
I need to check it out and see how it would work with North Dakota and how they have the electronically posted properties on like the app. You can see it. I wonder if that goes to CarPlay because that would be incredibly helpful. It's like just when you're driving down the road scouting, you just look down at your screen and say, okay, this is electronically posted. Now we know we're going to have to knock on a door.
Is there a variable? How close does it get you to a property line?
What do you mean?
Pretty
I
darn
mean, there's
close.
got to be a. It can't. You know, is there time? It's not 100%. Like, hey, if I go 1 foot this way, I'm trespassing.
Oh, I wouldn't.
on the
I wouldn't
property
trust it
lines.
that much.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
it's
it gets
pretty-
you.
it's-
It gets you.
most places I've
pretty
been,
close.
there's normally like roads and fences and like obvious.
I mean, you're going to notice.
obvious
Yes.
edges of property.
But is that one that has any negative to it?
Onyx?
Hunt? Yeah.
not
I mean,
that I
I just
know of.
don't see
I mean,
the
your GPS could
It's-
be off by a little bit sometimes, but
because it's not helping you take game any better. It's not like giving you an advantage besides letting you just know where you're at.
yeah,
And
I mean,
what's around.
it's really helpful for keeping track of, you know, when you're scouting, knowing. I mean, have you ever used it?
I have, so I did just like the free trial, like when I first got it. But I never got into like the layers and the whole, because
Yeah.
I mean, they've even expanded on it now.
I love
more.
using it because I'm able to
Right.
like I'm dropping waypoints all the time, looking for different places that I would want to hunt, or like marking boat ramps or things of that nature. Like if I want to share waypoints,
Right.
or areas that I like to hunt. Like, I mean, you can if I zoom out, you can see stuff all across the country. It's pretty cool.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just awesome. Like when I was in North Dakota, we talked to Ben, who works for Onyx, and he was like, "Yeah, I've actually done a lot of hunting up in that area. I'm going to send you guys some waypoints for spots to go check out for pheasant hunting." Boom.
And that's nice too. You can send a waypoint to a
You can
buddy,
a folder
so
of
he
waypoints.
knows.
A folder of waypoints.
Like I've had that. Like, if you go hunt someone's property and they're like, "Yeah, the tree stand, you go this way," and then you tell
Yeah.
you could send him the waypoint if he had it, and he could walk right to that stand.
Yep. And I mean, it's loaded with, I love it. I love using it. It's great for everything from squirrel hunting to duck hunting to deer hunting and so on and so forth.
There's so much stuff. It's always changing. I remember when it was pretty basic, as far as just, the land, public versus private, and the owners and whatnot, and then now the layers, and then even Onyx off-road, is a whole different thing, more for the off-roading side of things.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
gives
mountain
you
biking
the-
and stuff, right?
Yeah, there's some of that going on too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can use it for not just hunting, but like if you're doing, hiking adventures.
Yeah, there's hiking
or
trails marked on it.
yeah.
knowing who owns the property. If you want to go try to figure out who lives there,
Yep.
Get
to see
permission
if
to
you can
hunt
get
it.
permission or to go recover a deer that maybe
Yep.
you're trying to. Well, I don't know who lives there, and so you figure it out. And
Yeah, I was going to ask if I'm a private landowner, are there any benefits for me using that app? Like, can I give out information on the app to say, like, if you are
So-
hunting in this area, you can, message me here or whatever?
The only time I've seen stuff posted by the landowners on there is in North Dakota with electronically posted private lands.
Yeah,
Like,
I
there
haven't
was-
seen anything else.
there was some-
I haven't been up there to see that.
There was some where it like posted like on there like a phone number or current address to go get permission to hunt that property. But
Yeah.
that's the only time I've seen any kind of input from the landowner on there.
gotcha. It could be a good tool if you did it, but you're in this spot that a lot of people hunt. You're like, instead of them just coming up to your door all the time or whatever, maybe there's a hunting club and here's some contact info. You can get a hold of me. Yeah, that's a good one. Onyx Hunt. Better, at least gives you property lines, especially like when, like if you're on a conservation land. Sometimes it can get confusing on where it actually stops. So that's why I got it when I first did it, was to let me know like the boundaries.
Yep.
'Cause it's hard to tell on like they give you the map, the little park brochure.
Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah, that can be-
that's not helping me.
Yeah. Let me get my magnifying
I'm
glass.
way off.
What
Or
else?
the time I was hunting penned up gobblers at a park once that I didn't know about. I was spring turkey. And I needed Onyx Hunt. So you drive right. It's more that mid morning. So you're cold calling for turkeys, trying to strike up a gobbler.
Yeah.
So you're driving around conservation land, and you every now and again you'd pull over, get out, call, and sure enough, we struck up a couple gobblers. I'm like, awesome. So we go hide in the timber, and we're like, well, they're up this way,
Were they in somebody's yard in a coop?
Uh-huh.
They're not coming, Pat.
They did not make it to us.
How excited! Did you hear like 6 of them or something?
No,
go
just
off?
a couple. And we're like, oh
Okay.
my gosh! But they were loud.
They loved
like
it.
this
Loved
is actually
everything.
going to work. It was me and my dad sitting down,
And
yelping.
they
and
just kept calling back.
they just kept calling and calling. We're like, oh my gosh, maybe they're hung up or there's something
That you can't be the only person that's happened
Oh
to.
man.
not at that spot. I guarantee it. So we kind of creep up a little bit, and I see, oh, there's a house up there. Oh my gosh, Dad, the gobblers are caged up. Let's get out of here. But if I had Onyx Hunt, I would have seen
A chicken coop.
someone's property
Something like
line
that.
was just up from us.
Yep.
So, safety equipment, we kind of talked about that. I mean, that's come a long ways, like the harnesses and like a lifeline. That's a little bit newer, at least into the tree stand world. And the lock jaws you see now on stands, like I'm all for proponents of, better safety equipment. So that Garmin thing I was telling you about
Bow sight.
is
Yeah.
a crossbow scope. It's the Garmin Zero X1i rangefinder crossbow scope. And it'll instantly give you ranges out to 250 yards and up to 500 with the reflection. But basically 250, done. And it'll project a illuminated aim point for you to use.
Kind of circling back to the comments, I think one person said that crossbow should at least get moved to alternative methods, but I don't agree with that. That was the rule they wanted to change.
Yeah.
I still think crossbow, I mean, I know you're not pulling it back, but it's still an arrow. You still could hit a twig.
Yeah.
Anything
you
can
know.
happen.
Sure. Well,
You still got to get a deer close enough to that lethal range to
yeah.
fire.
I mean, we saw this.
I mean, how deadly are you at
with
100
the
with a
Huff
crossbow?
buck and the controversy that stormed around him. But
What do you say you shot that buck at? 25, 20, 15,
I think
30,
40.
40?
I believe, or he saw it at 40. But anyways, it was 40 or under.
But he had to play the wind right, stay quiet, stay hidden, and do everything right a normal archer would do with a compound bow at 40 yards to do the same thing.
And I think you've got a great line to use that he talks about, and that is, if someone's like, "Oh, that's cheating" or "That's unfair," well, unless all you're using is a traditional bow,
Yeah, stick and string.
stick and string, not a compound, but old school traditional stick and string, because you don't hear people say that rifles are unfair,
Yeah.
really.
Well, they have their own season, but
Right, but you're not like, that was unfair. It's always when it deals with a crossbow, typically.
and then they're talking about
Right.
crossbows being grouped
It's
with the
like-
whole
Yeah.
season from
Do
September 15th.
what you want.
Well, sure, yeah, and if you're not into the compound or traditional, and a crossbow gives you the ability to get out into the woods and take part in hunting,
Or you don't have the time to
Then
practice
do it.
shooting.
yeah, but even then, you still gotta practice the.
Yeah, you got to practice a little bit.
'Cause I can tell you what, I can shoot a compound faster than I can to a crossbow.
Yeah.
I mean, cocking
Going from
reloading
not
it.
not cocked to
Yeah.
loading and
Right.
everything like that.
Yeah. But you still got to practice. You still got to sight it in. But some of these sights, though, that's where some people are like, has the technology gone too far? I pull up a crossbow. I could.
I mean, that crossbow
could shoot
range is
tacks
250, but
No, you
are
wouldn't shoot a
you're not-
crossbow 250,
shooting
but
at 250.
but you could shoot them 80, 100.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, yeah, you could.
Well, I know because the one at the store has a sight on it that goes out to 100.
Yeah, for sure. You could
So-
talk to some Western guys. They shoot elk at 100
Yeah, but elk at 100. Oh, with a.
compound.
Yeah. Well, I saw, what was it? Like Waddell shot a goat or something at 80,
Yeah.
You got to be good to do that.
But
though.
you practice a lot.
Yeah, you got to be. Yeah.
Right. You're not just your weekend practice at your target in the backyard and then go out there.
Yeah. I think. Don't you want to be practicing like double your distance of what your lethal shot would be?
Yeah, and a lot of guys will practice farther. Like I've practiced out to 60. I've never shot 60 in my life.
It's hard for me to see the little dot on the target at 60.
I have bad eyes.
Well,
but-
there again, that's where they would talk about this illuminated sight. I mean, it's
Well, like aiming at that one dot on the target.
yeah,
It's hard to
seeing the target
at
dot
60 yards,
Yeah,
I
and
mean-
you're like Cameron Haynes shooting them balloons at over 100 yards with his compound. You could barely see the balloon; it's covered up with his sight.
Makes me want to get my bow out and shoot it
I
again.
know. I mean, but I shoot. I like to practice long, but not long distance, but not shoot that long. And when I shoot long distance, I'm shooting both eyes open and just kind of looking at the profile of the target, and taking practicing shots. And I get pretty good groups,
Yeah.
decently.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Well, there's one more. We talked about. So we're talking about technology, and you got a lot of people on one side, they love it. Yeah, I don't know. You got a lot of people on the other side.
Technology is your
It's
phone.
technology. Yeah,
Somebody's phone.
it's like my phone's
hearing
being
something.
weird, but so you got some people that are proponents for it, some people that aren't. So as I was researching and doing some things, I saw someone say, and I don't know if this is Minnesota or it was a northern state, is technology really didn't change the success rate at all over the years. Even though there's more, like these sites and things to make you more successful, the percentage of success hasn't changed. And I'm like, well, I want to look into some of the Missouri numbers. And so I started finding some wild numbers, so I wanted to share them with you and everybody listening. And so some of the things that I found, so I went back 10 years. Well, I found a spreadsheet that goes from 1944 to 2019. Deer, so this is archery and rifle harvest numbers.
Okay.
And it also tells you how many permits were sold for firearm and archery, resident and non-resident.
Gotcha.
So I know how many permits were sold and how many deer were harvested every year from 44 to 2019, and then I threw in 2020 and then the 21-22 season to make sure so I could go back 10 years. So just kind of running through it a little bit. So this last year, 295,143 deer were harvested. And I didn't get the permit totals on that, but it was over 1 million. Wow. Permits were sold. Same for the 2020-2021 season, which was 297,214 deer harvested. This is resident, non-resident combined. Again, over 1 million permits were sold. Where I started getting my info was the 1920, 1819, and so on. I went back to the 2012 going into 13 because it always goes into January. The deer harvest totals for the last 10 years have increased slightly. 10 years ago, it was 250,740. Obviously, this last year, 295,143, but there's been some variations in between, some dips and highs in that. But basically, you're within that margin from 250 to 295. Now, I was like, all right, I want to take this a step further. And I took the total amount of permits sold over those years and divided it by the number of deer killed, which would give me, for every so many permits sold, a deer would be harvested.
Yep.
So over the past 6 years, so this last year till the 2016-17 season, for every 4.5 to 5 permits sold, over the past 6 years, a deer was harvested. So every 4.5 to 5 permits,
So the
a
average
deer
for the
was
past
taken.
5
That
years
was the average
6
over the
permits
past
to 1
6
deer.
years.
Okay.
Previous to that, the 2015 going into the 2016 season, going back to the late 90s.
Okay.
So we talk about technology here. Some of this technology didn't exist then. It didn't exist 6 years ago. The average actually dipped. So for every, now the deer total harvest number stayed the same during that time period. But for every 2 permits sold, a deer was harvested.
Oh, wow.
So better odds for permits.
I got to go back in time.
Better odds back in time. Now,
Yeah.
So
And you're
yeah,
going
so
to the
there's one-
2015, 2016.
I am I'm gonna say that. But one thing I wanted to say was we're talking about technology. So, and you can skew numbers, and I know people, there's different things that happen, but at least from what I can see just here in Missouri, and we talk about this technology, like that guy was saying, if you go back to the late 90s up until last year, the success rate hasn't really changed.
Okay.
In fact, it's gotten worse. If you go by the amount of permits sold to the deer harvested, it's actually got worse. So proponents for technology would say it's not increasing your chances. It's there to help, but it's not helping.
Okay.
Just throw that out there. So I'm scrolling through these, and this is what was really weird. And I started calling the MDC, and I'm trying to get a hold of people because I'm trying to figure out what happened. So In 2015, 601,846 permits were sold. In the next year, 2016, 1.3 million permits were sold. That's an increase of 730,000 permits
Almost 750,000 people are permits.
sold.
people,
More.
permits.
That's resident, non-resident. I'm like, what the heck?
See that? I just thought about that as we were talking about it. 2016 is when crossbows were allowed to be bought. Crossbow tags were archery tags.
So that's what we were. So I'm calling the MDC.
Is that really 750,000 people though buying crossbow
Well, I don't know.
tags?
It could be the app too. So what we're trying to figure out when I found this or stumbled upon it is what happened from 2015 to 2016 to make 750,000 more permits sold. So I'm called the MDC. I was wondering if it was
a mistake.
the price of tags.
Yep.
That didn't change. In fact, the only thing that's changed really is non-resident permits have gone up by about $50, and landowner tags. To get landowner tags, you have to now have 20 contiguous acres
Used to be
to
5.
get landowner. It used to be 5.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Two things that would actually decrease the number of permits sold, but they haven't. Our numbers have increased over the years of permits sold. So I was like, we thought the app.
I thought the MDC app might have
So
helped.
yeah, so if anybody knows, when did the MDC, the Missouri deer hunting? Well, it's got the deer hunting on it, but where you can buy your, I think that's actually the MDC calling, but I'm going to answer it later.
Sure it's not your car's extended warranty.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is when did the app come out? And we thought, well, there's technology. When that app comes out, now you don't have to go to a store to buy a tag. You can buy more permits. Boom, it's right there at your fingertip.
Yep.
And then what Chandler just found is in 2016, crossbows became a legal hunting method for all hunters. That might actually be a
That could be a
big
cause of it.
proponent of it. Because it gets a lot more people out there.
I mean, say like the guy who can't pull a bow back. Now you just gave him the opportunity to buy a crossbow and go out from September 15th to January 15th.
Well, and the big jump was, there was a jump in firearm too, so it wasn't just crossbow.
yeah.
So firearm doubled the amount of permits sold, but archery almost quadrupled.
Okay.
So that would factor
Crossbow.
in, if crossbows became legal, I could see why it quadrupled, but rifle doubled. We went from 400 and some thousand permits to over 800, and it's stayed that way.
Weird.
So something happened from 2015 to 2016. Yeah, it was kind of wild. I don't know. I was nerding out on it, and I was like, I want to bring something to the table that may be different. And it was. I want to know what happened that
Do
year.
some digging.
Crossbow for sure.
Yeah.
That would account for some of the archery permits. Like if you've never bow hunted before, a lot of people started bow hunting. I know for sure because you could crossbow hunt. The firearms, I'm not sure. It wouldn't account for that.
It could have been marketing too. But to achieve that kind of big jump, I
mean, that's more than double.
I know. There could have been a big
The
push
amount
by
of
Missouri
permits.
for deer hunting, or I don't.
Yeah, like what marketing campaign?
There was no law change to where you had to use a rifle tag with a bow during rifle season. Does that make sense? Like you could never tag a deer during
Because
rifle
right now you
season
have
with
to
a
use your rifle. If you shoot a
buck
deer with your
or deer
with
during-
your bow during rifle, you have to use your rifle
Rifle
tag.
tag. yeah. Did that
Something
ever
like
change?
that. Something weird like that. That
Yeah. I mean, I was just saying like
I
If
do
you-
find that's interesting that you have separate rifle and archery tags.
yeah, if you were hunting I did it all the time. I would hunt during rifle season with a bow because that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to hunt with a compound, but I had to go buy more deer tags to do that because I was not legal to use my archery tags.
now,
during
do you
that
think
window.
that number, the permits? Do you think they're talking about each tag, or like?
And that's what I was thinking. So because
Because what about
how many years
doe?
did you get more, like less doe tags, more doe tags?
But see,
or-
that went down.
That went
Because I
down.
remember growing up, you could buy no matter what county you were in.
Yeah.
Back when I was growing up, so we're talking 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You could buy
1900s.
a book of doe tags for every $7 you put down.
Yeah.
It was another doe tag, another doe tag, another doe tag. Now,
Has
I think that increased to $9.
Has it always been that you get 2 deer tags with your archery permit?
Two
as long as I
any
can remember.
deer,
2 any.
but only one can be a buck.
yeah.
You can't shoot 2 bucks,
Gotcha.
Wait, that changed though.
and only one can be before rifle.
Because you used to be able to shoot 2 bucks, one before, one after, right?
Yeah, but that would be another limit.
Yeah, that would hurt our numbers.
Like all the things we're coming up with would hurt our numbers. But that's a big change in the matrix.
All right. If anybody knows,
What
Anybody
happened
knows-
from 2015 to 2016? We know crossbows became legal in Missouri. What else happened in the hunting industry in Missouri that would make more than double the amount of permits sold?
I
for
feel like it's
archery
right in
and
front of us,
firearm?
and we just don't know.
It is.
We're
Probably
like,
on my
oh,
phone.
yeah.
Maybe
But
if
I've
you
tried
answer that phone
Googling.
call.
Yeah.
I know if I would, I'm going to call him back right after. We might put it in a comment or something. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
but again, thanks for listening.
Send us an email.
Email,
Podcast at
subscribe, all that
rogersportinggoods.com.
good stuff.
Yeah, we have social media posts. Comment there your ideas, topics, questions. If you know the answer to that darn question,
Yeah,
we'd love to hear
things you want to hear about. Yep, we'll try to give you a shout out and try to get to them. So
it. Yeah,
as
and you
always,
guys, if you guys are planning to go into NWTF, the
yeah, a
banquet,
couple weeks,
at Nashville, Opryland.
February 15th.
Yeah, something
Well,
like
we
that.
get there the 15th, but basically
there
the
the 15th.
16th, 17th,
Yeah.
and 18th. Those 3 days, we'll have a booth there, Rogers Sporting Goods, at the Opryland Convention Center in
A little
Nashville. So
sneak peek of our new turkey gear as well.
yeah, stop by, say hi, swap
And
stories, tell
we'll-
white lies.
We'll have probably the best selection of TSS turkey
Yes.
loads in that whole convention center.
Guaranteed.
100%. 100%.
Stop by, we'll get you taken care of.
Oh yeah.
Or view the variety on rogersportinggoods.com.
Stop there too. We got it all.
Pick up one of
It's
these
coming
nice
in, man.
new hats.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to get some
Can't
new hats,
wait.
new Richardsons up on the table.
That's right.
Yep. Good deal.
Buy it all. As always, I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for the snacks,
Josh,
Josh.
you have an outro or we just do it?
We just did it.
Yeah.
Good job, boys.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate it.
All right.
See you guys.
Hey, who's eating all this jerky?
You are.
Yep, that's you.
See ya.
I think it's time for me to go